Hey guys, Pastor George, and I'm just going to do a quick video on church live streaming systems. I get asked these questions a lot, and I figured I would just do a nice, quick and dirty video, excuse me, about how to put together a very simple live streaming system for a church. Now, basically, all live streaming is running a camera feed to a social media platform, something like Facebook or YouTube, and those are usually the two that churches tend to be comfortable with. And the easiest way to do it, if you're a low-tech church and you just don't have the money and you don't have the people to run a live streaming system, the easiest thing you can do is get a good phone or a tablet, something with a good camera on it. The camera quality is really important. Put it on a tripod, put it somewhere up close to the platform, and you're done. It's just that simple. It's not going to have the greatest sound. The picture may not be unbelievably amazing, but anyone who can't make it to church is going to be able to see the service. And then you don't have to worry about editing. You don't have to worry about graphics design or creating things. It's just a really simple alternative for some churches. And honestly, if you're not going to start a social media outreach or some sort of digital outreach platform at your church, you might not want to be investing thousands of dollars into a system that is only going to get used, a few times a year, if that, or used to a very low degree. So the phone is a viable option, and you shouldn't just bypass it. You really want to think about the long picture. What is it that you want to do in the long term? So for church purposes, basically there are two or three different types of systems that you can add to a church. The easiest way to do this, you break it down into three components. You only need three components to run a church live stream. You need a camera that is hopefully HDMI enabled. You need what's called a capture card. And you need a computer that is going to actually do the streaming. That's all you need. There's some software that you can get, but it's not necessarily what you have to do. I know YouTube and Facebook, you can actually go from the capture card directly to the computer, directly to the platform. You don't even need live streaming software. Live streaming software is there to add a layer of capability to the system. So if you have a camera, a capture card, and a computer, you're ready to go. The question you want to ask is, what level of control do you want to have for that system? And this is where the complexity begins to add. Everything that you want to control adds a layer of complexity, and you really need to understand that as you go in. So if your church has a vibrant group of people who really love technology and they enjoy working with that kind of stuff, that is fantastic. You can add all kinds of things, and they just get excited about it because it's a lot of fun. If your church is a very low-tech church, for example, if the majority of people have cell phones that are still flip phones, you might want to really consider whether or not this is the right path for you. You want to stick with something really, really simple. But as you start adding control, you have to kind of pay the price for what you're bringing in. So the first layer of control that most people want to add to a live stream is sound, because the camera does have a microphone built into it, but the microphone is very low quality, and you can't really adjust it. You can do some adjusting depending on your computer for audio quality, whether or not you're running the feed off of the soundboard into the camera, which honestly I don't recommend because it can be horrible unless your sound guy really knows what they're doing. It can be really, really horrible. Sometimes just the room mic is just better. But if your camera microphone isn't that great, an easy way to fix that is just by adding a camera mic. These are relatively inexpensive. Some of them they attach to the top of the camera. Some of them they attach to a little bar that goes on the side. And it just does a better job picking up the sound and the audio in the room itself. And you want to make sure that you remember you're picking up the sound of the room itself. So anyone sitting close to this, you're going to hear. So you want to keep in mind kind of how that works and where you place the camera and things like that. But this is a really, really cheap, simple way of adding higher audio quality to your live stream. If you're just staying with a simple interface. And it goes camera, capture card, computer. So you're still in the same process. So the only thing you've really added is a little bit of audio control to it. So it just bumps it up just a touch. So, but what happens if you want to add, another camera? Or you want to add a feed coming off of the computer that's showing the song lyrics. You want to be able to put the song lyrics up, or you want to be able to put a PowerPoint or your sermon slides up. So now you've added a different camera. So now you have a problem. You have to tell your computer which camera you want to use. So you're still running from your cameras, your capture card is still going into your computer, but now you need another piece of hardware. You need something that is going to tell your computer which camera feed or which computer feed for graphics that you're going to use, and that you need a switch. Now your switcher, there's a lot of different ones on the market. They can get up into the thousands of dollars. This is the one that I recommend for most churches. It is called the ATEM Mini. It is not the ATEM Mini Pro. The ATEM Mini Pro is a great tool, but it's about $700 more than this particular one. The ATEM Mini by itself is around $250, $300 depending on where you get it. Fantastic piece of hardware. You can put 4 camera feeds into it. That includes another computer feed coming over. You can run audio feeds into here. It has picture-in-picture. It has chroma key options. This is a phenomenal piece of hardware, but it's also very easy to use. So if you're high-tech, it's there for you. If you're low-tech, it's there for you. It all depends on how many of these features you want to access, and that's the cool thing about this. Now, the other really cool thing about this particular switcher is that it also has built into it a capture card. So you can actually run from the switcher, bypass the capture card, and go directly into the computer, or you can come out of the switcher into a capture card into the computer. It all depends on how your system is set up. But if you want to bypass a piece that's probably $80, you have it built into the switch by itself. Very, very handy, very handy tool, and a really nice high-end piece of equipment. Now, at this point, all we've done so far is we've added one piece of hardware. So I've still got a system that can be ran by one person. They're just literally pushing buttons, deciding which camera view they want to see. So we've got a little bit of audio control, we've got a little bit more video control, and we still have a relatively simple system. Now, if you want to continue adding pieces to this, you want a more robust audio control, you can add a USB-enabled audio interface. This, you would have an audio signal coming off of your board, usually from an auxiliary or a monitor send, something where you can mix things just a little bit differently. And you have it running into something like this. And then it's got a USB cable that goes out to your computer. So now you have the video signal coming in, and you have the audio signal coming in, and then it's mixed in the computer. Now, at this point, it does make sense to have streaming software. I use Ecamm Live because I'm a Mac user. Ecamm Live is not available to IBM computers, but that's okay. There are other programs like OBS that are out there that can actually do a lot of the same things. I really love this software because of what it does, but I'm not getting kickbacks from them, so I don't need to do a tutorial on Ecamm Live. But if you are a Mac user, you really do need to check this out because this is phenomenal software. But now you can see what we've done through this is we've added another layer of complexity. So you see what I mean? The more control that you want to add to the system, the more layers of complexity you need. This system can still be run by one person, but it's one person who is now really having to pay attention to a lot of things because you have multiple cameras, you have audio interface, and you also have the live streaming that you have to take into consideration that you're looking in all these different areas. It can be done. We've done it here for a while, but it's better to start thinking about the layers that you're adding. So now you're adding people. Realistically, there should be 2 people now working with this. You have someone mixing, and you have someone running the video, or maybe your sound guy and your video guy are collaborating. This can become really complex really fast, which is why if you're a smaller church and this is something that's new to you, what I recommend is very simple. Let's get rid of all of this stuff that you don't need and stay with something very, very simple. You got a camera, you got a card, you got a computer, you're ready to go. It doesn't take a lot to make this happen. You just need to make sure that you're running things in the correct order. Don't try to plug the camera directly into the computer. It won't work. You need your camera into a capture card, into your computer, running into your software, whatever you're using to stream with, and then you're ready to go. Now, if this looks like it's a little too complicated for you, which honestly maybe it is, get out a good phone, open the app, hit play, you're ready to go. Now, if you find that you need a little bit more help, you have some more questions, feel free to contact me at office@riveroflifechurch.org. Be happy to answer your questions. Have a fantastic day.